Parliament, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, congratulations on this past 3 days of dialogue and discussion. I'd like to congratulate the Ministry of Family and Human Rights, and the Minister in particular, for organizing this Somali National Human Rights Summit and for your collective commitment towards collective dialogue and people-centered policymaking on human rights in Somalia. I'd also like to recognize the presence of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic, for demonstrating his high-level political support and commitment to the priorities and principles espoused at this summit. I'm pleased to learn of a number of the items included in the official communique, not least of which is the decision to prioritize the National Independent Human Rights Commission as a top priority for the government moving forward, and that together with other elements of the communique are great news for all Somali citizens. The summit itself has generated a lot of positive energy, with panel discussions and focus groups happening simultaneously, conversations continuing during the breaks between high-ranking government officials, Capitol-based delegates, participants from states, men, women, young and old, those with disabilities, and from underrepresented groups, a broad representation of Somali society. And I do think it generates and demonstrates a broad-based commitment to the fundamental principles of the Charter of the UN and the Declaration on Human Rights, and that is desperately and deeply appreciated in this context. The participatory manner in which the summit was undertaken is another piece of evidence of the continued advancement of human rights discourse in Somalia. And while the country continues to improve the human rights situation at national, regional, and international levels in terms of human rights obligations, all present at the summit agreed that much more must be done for human rights education and civic education so that people, Somali citizens, can claim their rights. It is indeed heartening to see the federal government embark on the implementation of the National Transformation Plan 2025 to 2029, the primary goal of which is to consolidate peace, create sustainable economic growth, and improve social well-being, while maintaining gender equality, human rights, and inclusivity in all development policies and programs by empowering women, youth, persons with disabilities, and other marginalized groups. And so I would like to commend the federal government, which in addition to expediting the establishment of the National Independent Human Rights Commission, is committed to the passage of essential human rights legislation, including as related to the protection of women and children. And I congratulate you on today's communique. It does contain a lot. I think for the purposes of today's communique, we would have preferred to have seen specific language expressing further reassurance of the legal safeguards of the rights of children and reaffirming the age of the child at the age of 18 in line with international human rights standards and Somalia's commitments to them. That said, we assure you that the United Nations will align and is aligning its development and human rights programming with the National Transformation Plan and will continue to support the federal government in implementing that plan and its human rights commitments for all Somali citizens. The UN remains strongly committed to working with all stakeholders, including government ministries, federal member states, parliaments, civil society actors, international partners, and marginalized groups to promote the human rights of all Somalis to access their full rights as Somali citizens. So with all that said, thank you to the Minister in particular, to the Ministry as a whole for undertaking this event. Thank you to the presence of the President to demonstrate that high level of political commitment. I congratulate the efforts of your team in organizing this and your close partnership with those in the human rights community who you've worked with to deliver on this summit. And I do hope it forms a milestone in Somalia's collective progress forwards. Thank you very much, Excellencies, and congratulations.